Hello and welcome back to Granted Gardens. Today is the day that so many people have been waiting for. We've been really excited about doing this video, but we've been trying to make sure that everything is like buttoned up and perfect before we did it. So today we are doing a chicken coop reveal. Over the last, 6 months, Tyler has been working hard to build this chicken coop for us. So backstory. We had planned on getting chickens this year. It was something that was kind of like very much decided. The night before we were supposed to go pick up those chickens, I ended up hurting my foot. So if you follow us, you know that. So I was like down for the count. I was so excited because the next day we were supposed to pick up our chickens and I was injured and was not going to be able to do that. And Tyler graciously surprised me by going out and getting the exact chickens that we decided that we wanted that day, and bringing them back.
And raised them for 6 weeks.
Because I couldn't really move. So today we want to show you, he's built this chicken coop literally from the ground up, from like, I don't know, what kind of plans did you have for this? Did you research plans or kind of wing it?
Drawings.
So
sketches.
We wanted to reveal the full chicken coop and introduce you to our chickens formally, because I know that you guys have seen them in a lot of videos, but we're going to walk through names and everything today. So here we go. Check it out.
All right, so we've got the run. I've heard people call it rat wire. I'm just going to call it chicken wire. It's very small. It's not like the most high tensile strength stuff, but it'll stop pretty much anything except for maybe like a bobcat, but we've only seen them once and I'm not too worried about it. So mainly just 2x4, stuff like that. Simple construction. It's not set in the ground at all. Everything is on top just in case we ever have to move it. Everything is also built in panels, so with the removal of maybe 8 screws in each edge, we can take all the pieces off if we ever move. We can take this whole thing with us with almost no real reassembly needed except for just different panels. You can't see it, but probably a foot down and 2 feet out along this whole front edge and the whole back edge is actually a thicker gauge wire mesh that we use just in case someone tries to dig underneath. That will stop them from doing that. We built the whole thing, so instead of it being all the way around, it's actually on the inside for that edge and the back edge. Honestly, if somebody tries to dig under, they're not going to get in anyways. They'd have to dig all the way to the center, and I don't think anything is going to give that much effort to do it. That's Jeffrey, our rooster. He's loud, but I think he's staying for now. Really simple door. There's a latch. There's a latch on the inside too, so you can lock it just so our dogs, mainly Mika, doesn't try to get in here. You can see them all trying to come up and see what we're going to feed them, but we don't have anything for you. So a really simple ramp. It's just plywood, 2x4, cut across so they have something to grip onto when they come down. If you ever see them come out in any videos, you'll see them like hop from 2x4 to 2x4. Or if you're Mary Kate and Ashley, you just fly straight out the door and don't even use the ramp at all. So here is just our little thing for the door to the run. It's just a string on eye bolts going through, so we can just lift and close it from the outside. We don't have to go inside or anything like that. We've got a feeding system. It's just 4-inch PVC with an elbow. These tops just unscrew out. You pour it in and it comes out into the little tray at the bottom. We tried a couple things in the beginning and it didn't really work that well, so I ended up taking a piece of PVC and just cutting a trough out of it. That seems to work a lot better than what we had initially, which was just little holes in the PVC. This one's a waterer, and it's just got the orange cups with the little yellow daubers that they peck at, and it fills it up. We haven't utilized that so much yet because it's been so hot. We don't want to risk running out of water with just that in there. So we also have one of the regular tray waterers that fill up with gravity. We're going to use that until it starts to cool off more regularly, and then we'll probably remove that for a while and let them see if they can figure that out. We've seen them pecking at it and drinking out of those before, so we know that they know that it's there. So we're pretty confident that once we remove that, they'll be able to figure it out, and then we won't have to keep moving it every morning, taking it out of the run, or out of the coop, and putting it into the run. So I put barn doors on, mainly because the first time I built this, it was supposed to just be hinged doors. I built the doors 5 times, and they've never matched up to fit directly into the cavity. So I thought this was going to be easier. And it did. There's really small gaps in the top and the sides, but as of right now, I do not think that they're big enough that even in the winter that it's going to let that much of a breeze in that they're going to be uncomfortable at all. So we just have a latch in the middle that just holds them together, and a latch on either side. And a little clip to hold this side. The one thing you probably can't see in the video, but you'll notice if you ever are here or paying attention, this whole area is sloped downward. It's not like a crazy grade or anything, but it's a little bit. So we only need to clip on one side because this one will just fall down and sit there. So in the inside, I just built, this is 4 foot across by 8 feet wide. We just use pine shavings. Underneath is actually some linoleum that we use from the kitchen, since we're remodeling the kitchen as well. And that just makes it way easier to clean. If you ever needed to, you could take the hose in here and even spray off linoleum if you needed to. But I don't think we're really going to need to do that anytime soon, because the bedding has actually kept the large majority of stuff from ever even hitting the ground. And even when it does, we use a garden rake, and that just pulls everything right out. We've got 2 windows. They just have the mesh over top of it on the inside just to keep anything big from really getting in there. Nothing big can even get in because of the run in the first place, but it at least keeps them from trying to jump out or anything like that. And then this winter, instead of having those big openings, we're just going to buy a sheet of plexiglass, cut out 2 covers, and we're just going to screw them right against there. We have 2 vents. There's one right here, and there's one on the opposite side. As of right now, I think that might be enough. If it's not, over the winter we'll find out, and then I may add like one here and on the other side, just to get enough airflow through that is ventilated, but not enough that it's going to seriously chill the inside. So if you look on the inside, there's actually still the cavities from all the framing that I did. So if we ever did want to, we could easily insulate this entire thing and then just get more plywood and just frame out the walls like you would in your normal house. It would just be insulation between the studs and then plywood over top of that. That would make it so it was 100% insulated at that point, which would be a good thing. But from what I've heard, I've seen a lot of chicken setups with a lot less insulatory issues than what we have. So I don't think it's going to be a problem, but we'll see. This is just where we usually keep the water in here. We transport it in and out of the coop every day and every night, and we just stick it right here. They have this little gravity food thing that we just strung from the ceiling. And that's about it for in here. We actually just grabbed some sticks, if you can call those sticks, more like branches, and that's what we have them so they can roost at night, because they don't like to sleep on the ground. And as of right now, this is more than enough for the chickens that we have. If we ever got more, we would need to rethink and add some. I have them far enough away from each other too, because all the stuff I've seen, they have them graded, so there's like a high one, a medium one, and a low one, and they're all stretched out from each other. But you don't want to have one under the other one, because then you'll have chickens pooping on your chickens, and we definitely don't want that. So if you come around to the back here, These are our nesting boxes. We only have 3 so far. This has not been a problem for our 7 chickens that lay eggs, plus Jeffrey, the one that does not, obviously. And they have had no problems. We haven't found any eggs outside of these 3 rooms, except for a couple weeks ago, there was a broken egg that somebody laid from the roost overnight. But since then, nothing. So this has actually worked out pretty good. Everything's pretty insulated. I don't have a trap door on the bottom, but it is one single panel. So if we ever did want to put a latch underneath it here so we can just drop it and let everything fall in, we can. But I don't really see that being a big issue. You can see our tree is super close. So we had to cut a little groove out of here so it'll fit through the tree. And then here we just have a twist lock one. This is high enough that only a human being would be able to get in here if we didn't want them to. So it's just a twist to keep it closed, but nothing's really gonna get in there. And if they wanted to, we could put a lock in here and call it a day and have no problems. What else? It's all plywood, 2x4s, the mesh. The top is pretty much like a steel corrugated roof. There's 4 pieces up there. They're all tapped and screwed into the plywood on the roof. It's got a pretty good pitch that I don't think any rain really is going to stick on there. At some point we might put a gutter on this end just to try to collect some water, because we have a rain barrel that currently has no purpose, and if we could at least give it something, that would help. So that's pretty much it for the coop. We love it. It's waist high, so we can actually just take one of the wheelbarrows up to right here, and then all we do is just pull everything out. To clean this takes less than 5 minutes. To put everything back in takes less than 5 minutes. So if we ever do need to clean this, which we have obviously numerous times, it is no task at all. It's super easy, like I said, because of the linoleum. It makes it real nice. And then just a garden rake like that in, pulls right out. We take it to the compost bin, and that's it. Super easy. Plus with the barn doors, it makes it super fancy. This is like HGTV chicken coop. I'm glad it's just a video and you guys are seeing this, because if you got up close to this, you would immediately know I'm not a carpenter, and this was all on the fly. I had spent weeks planning down to each panel, every piece of wood, how it was going to get put together. Once I started building it, that was it. Everything flew out the window and I just had to do it myself. So it's actually covered on all sides. It's got the skirt around the whole thing, and it's got the mesh on the top as well, which I'm glad we did, because when we first put them out here, I didn't have the top finished, and there was a vulture in the tree right here chilling, looking down. So I'm glad we had already planned on that. I think the only thing I missed are just these furring strips. So I have most of this stapled directly into the studs, but then when you add these furring strips in, it gives it something else that gives a little extra pressure, just in case anything did push or try to pull on this. It's not going to give so much because it's screwed right into the stud, which is good because Mika, one of our dogs, loves to jump on this and try to get the chickens. So that's pretty much it. I built this little A-frame ladder thing for them because initially they were all sleeping in one of the corners of the coop on the ground. So I wanted to make sure that they had something to learn how to jump and fly and roost somewhere, and we find them all the time sitting on top of this thing. And it took me 10 minutes to build, and they've used it quite a bit. So you want to go inside? Beep, beep. So this is part of the Mary Kate and Ashley duo. I want to say that this is Kate, just because Kate is a little bit smaller. We're just going to dub this one Kate. Don't ask me breeds because I'm not 100% sure. I know
Barred Rock.
This is a Barred Rock. We have 2 of these guys. Never heard that sound before in my life. So Kate. Ashley is over there. That's Ashley looking at the camera perfectly.
Hi, Ashley. Hi.
This is my second favorite chicken. This is Matina, to go with Jeffrey, our rooster. She is absolutely one of our more docile, loving chickens. We can pick her up and she immediately just goes like this into like a little ball, a little chicken ball. No cares in the world. She's the smallest of all the chickens, but I swear to God she eats the most. She's the first one that'll come up to worms, caterpillars, anything I throw in here. Anytime I come in here, she's the first one that runs up to us.
A little background story on Matina and Jeffrey. When we first, they're escaping.
They're not escaping.
When we first got chickens, my cousins were one of the first to be like, oh, what are you naming them? And Matina was like, you need to name one Matina. So we knew we were definitely naming one Matina. We didn't know we had a rooster. That was a surprise. And so when, like, weeks later, when we realized that we had a rooster, we were trying to figure out what to name him. And we were like, I mean, I guess Jeffrey, because Jeffrey and Matina. So you're welcome, Jeff and Matina. You've got official names for our chickens. You guys are
chicken doppelgangers.
You're with us every day. So that's where that came from. That Matina was just the first person that was like, you need to name one after me. So you got it, Matina.
All right, so let me see if I can get my number 1 chicken. This is Cleopatra. You've heard her name before. She's the Americana that goes along with Jeffrey, who is also an Americana, but this is Cleopatra. She lays our blue eggs. She just took a dirt bath, apparently, because she is dirty. She's not the most cuddly, but if you pick her up for a couple minutes, she usually will relax. She definitely doesn't scream at me like Kate did. So, Cleopatra. Kate.
Mary Kate.
That's Mary Kate. So then, that's Mary Kate, then that's Ashley. Right there is, well, the darker one, this guy right here, girl, this lady with the green and the blue, that's Blue.
Tell us what blue means.
Blue, the raptor from Jurassic World. You know, chickens and turkeys are closely related to the raptor, if you watch Jurassic Park. And then I forget what her name is.
So, Blue and this one right here, her name is Lacey. They're both black laced Wyandottes. I might be butchering that, but if you're a chicken lover, you know what I'm talking about. Black lace Wyandottes. And that's Lacey. Who are we missing?
So that's pretty much the layout. The coop itself is 4 feet by 8 feet wide, or 4 feet wide by 8 feet long. The whole run with the coop obviously built inside of it. The whole coop is 16 feet long by 12 feet wide, or maybe 10 feet wide, something like that. But that's it for the most part. Right now it's a dirt floor, but we're trying to get some sand brought in bulk so we can cover the whole bottom. That way it's a little easier to clean.
So this is the feeder that Tyler talked about earlier, and the water that come in from the outside, so we can refill it from the exterior. What do we have here?
The small feeder is actually oyster shell and calcium to help them build nice eggs, and we just leave that in there. They get them on their own.
We have the brick back here.
Yeah, that is a scratch block, so it's got the scratch grains mixed in with some other stuff to bind it all together, and they've actually been pecking at that pretty good. I mean, that thing was maybe just a little bit bigger before they got at it, and it's probably only been in here for about 2 weeks, maybe 3 tops.
Here's the windows from inside the run but outside the coop, and then there's the second vent we talked about, and of course all of this is caged in so we don't have to worry about predators. And that's the waterer that we lug around with us. And then this is the little ladder that Tyler built for the girls and Jeffrey, and they love it. Like, this was probably one of the best ads that we put in, because they will climb up on here and sit up on here all day long. Hi, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey the rooster. So the only other thing I think to add is just something that I've recently started doing. If you guys know us, you know that we grow cucamelons, and if you've ever grown cucamelons, you know all about them. And the space between our neighbor's fence and the run itself, I've actually been taking all the cucamelons that have been falling and throwing them back there in the hopes that they will seed that area for next year, and then the vines will grow up and through the fence, and then the chickens have their own little self-feeding system of cucamelons.
And if you're not familiar with cucamelons, we actually have one that's growing up here. So it's a viney plant, and if you can see through, they've got little tiny melons on them. They're very, very small. They kind of taste like cucumbers. So hopefully we're hoping that those will continue to grow and will grow through for the chickens to eat.
Okay.
So that's it for the coop. I'm super happy with it. I think that this actually turned out way better than, it definitely turned out way better than what I initially had planned, because I was just going to repurpose a bunch of stuff to build a coop with, but this is definitely a lot more
I'm glad I was in charge, for sure. Even though I cursed my way through about 4 or 5 weekends building this.
But yeah, this is it, and that's the girls. So we finally wanted to announce their names. So we've got Jeffrey and Matina, and we've got
Cleopatra,
Mary
Kate and Ashley.
Oh, you know who
Goldie
we forgot?
Hen.
Yeah.
Goldie Hen, where are you, Goldie Hen?
So I had done a list of homework on like cute chicken names, and Goldie Hen was one that came up that I was like, we have to have that. We have to have a Goldie Hen. So one of Tyler's Buff Orpingtons we decided was going to be Goldie Hen. So Tyler's trying to grab her so we can show you her. So we have Jeffrey and Matina, we have Goldie Hen, and Lacey.
We don't have Goldie Hen.
Lacey and did I say Cleopatra?
Yeah, we said her in the beginning.
Lacey. Who else is with Lacey? Blue.
Come here.
And then the Baird Rocks are Mary Kate and Ashley, because they genuinely look exactly alike. I can't tell them apart. So that's why I just went with a twin name.
This is Matina again, but Goldie Hen is just a little bit bigger. But
Goldie Hen looks the same, but it's just a little bigger.
That's everybody.
As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we look forward to sharing more with you soon.
More with you soon.